Today, I'll be talking about some middle class habits that actually make a lot of people to be broke or to be very, very poor or to be involved in what I call a rat race. If you actually want to break away from the genes of penury, from the genes of being broke, from the genes of being perpetually financially insufficient, then this video is actually for you, because this video will actually teach you on what to actually do to move from the level of the middle class to the higher class of the rich in the society. So join me as I actually unravel the mystery of what you can actually do to lift you up from being broke to being self-sufficient, to be rich and to be wealthy and to be affluent in the society. You see, we are actually practicing a capitalist system, and this capitalist system of free market economy is designed in a way that will make some people to be perpetually have not, and also make some people to be very affluent in the society. The choice is actually yours after discussing this topic that is very, very indispensable and very important. You see, the middle class is actually squeezed in the economic system, more than ever, because if you actually belong to the middle class, you will discover that it's always very difficult for you to be able to save some sufficient money for yourself, not to even talk about investing some part of your money. So the reason for this is because in the capitalist system, the gap between the rich and the poor is always getting bigger and bigger. Now, apart from this, you will agree with me that the world is now characterized by high inflationary rates, high interest rates, and slow economic system. Number one, high inflationary rates. Number two, slow economic system. And number three, what I call a high interest rate. So, if you actually belong to the middle class, you will discover that belonging to this class itself is a very crucial thing. You will agree with me that when you actually belong to the middle class, the tendency for you to actually find yourself or to belong to the higher class or the rich class is very, 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 very hard. Now, there are some certain habits that middle class people or classes of people actually engage in that actually perpetually place them in the position of being broke at all time. And these are the things that I'm going to discuss. What are those things that are habits, or what are those things that the middle class are actually doing that makes them to be perpetually poor or to be penury or to be broke at all time? Now, let's dive into this number one point. Now, you agree with number one is that a lot of people are working to survive. Imagine you are working and you are earning 300,000 naira in a month. 300,000 naira in a month. If you calculate 300,000 naira in a month times 12, you have 3.6 million naira that you are earning in a year. A lot of you will say, wow, this is a big amount of money. I wish I can have this money as a middle class. But do you know that even if you have or you are earning 300,000 naira in the Nigerian economy now, that money is not going to be sufficient for you at the end of the day as a family man. For example, if you have 4 children, 300,000 naira is not going to be sufficient for you and cannot be able or may not be able to cater for you and your children, including your wife. Now, what are those things that make it very difficult or make it impossible for you to survive in this particular economic trend if you are earning 300,000 naira in a month? Don't forget that number one, you are going to pay taxes. Number one, you're going to pay taxes, so you cannot escape taxes. Number two, you will need a shelter. You need a house. you are going to rent a rented apartment where you are going to be paying some amount of money every year. Sometimes I could remember when I was living in a three-bedroom flat in a corridor at that time, I was paying 200,000 naira per annum, 200,000 naira per annum, and that was in 2018. 2018. That was about 6 years ago. I was paying 200,000 naira per annum. Now you can imagine 2024 now. If you are still residing in that area, that means that you're going to be paying about 300,000 naira per annum. Per annum. Now deduct 300,000 naira per annum from 3.6, you are left with 3.3 million naira. Now, apart from that, you want to show that you're a big boy, you want to buy a car. You understand? You're going to maintain your car, and that's why I always say that the car, if you're earning 300,000 naira in this economic system and you have a car, your car is actually a liability. And unfortunately, or well, fortunately, I would say, a lot of car owners in Nigeria, and most people in Lagos State, most of them have become a taxi owner because they cannot sustain the maintenance of their car. If you come to VI now, a lot of them are using that car for taxi, and if they are going back from their work to their house, they'll take care of passengers in these cars and their buses just to make ends meet, because having one streams of income cannot sustain you and your family in this level of inflation. Then another one is that you are going to have a health insurance. You pay for your health insurance for you and your family and your wife, your children. You're going to pay for health insurance. Then apart from that, you're going to pay for food. Food is very important. In fact, it's the three basic needs of man. You're going to feed your wife, you're going to feed your children, you're going to feed yourself. You will need money to do this. Another one is that you're going to pay for utilities. You're going to pay for electricity bills, you're going to pay for transportation bills, or you're going to pay for transport fares, you're going to pay for water bills, you're going to pay for these bills, you're going to pay for that bill, you're going to pay for this or that. You had it all at the end of the day. Then you're going to have what we call miscellaneous. Under miscellaneous, you have visitors coming to your house on Sundays, or somebody coming to visit you, your dependents or people that are depending on you. At the end of the month, they will call you, "Bros, where is our own money?" They want to collect money from you. So all these things are miscellaneous. Now add up all these things together: the tax, the housing, the car, the health insurance, the food, the miscellaneous, the utilities. At the end of the day, you will discover that even if you are earning 3.6 million naira, you'll be left with nothing at the end of the day, with little or nothing at the end of the day. And if you are left with little or nothing at the end of the day, you might not be able to build wealth in that circumstances. So to save in this situation is going to be very difficult. At the end of the day, the person has little or what, or no saving. So in this economic system, for those that belong to the middle class, they are actually working to survive and not to invest. So if you are in that class or category, you are actually working to survive and not working to invest. You are not working to invest. You are not working to thrive. You are not working to make more money. You are not working to grow money, but you are working to survive. And what do I mean by that? That is, you do not have anything to save at the end of the day after what? Spending money on car, taxis, housing, cars, health insurance, food, miscellaneous utilities, and other things like that. So you are left with little or nothing at the end of the day. So you need investment to break out of this middle class. But you just said now that you are not going to be able to save any money, or you save little money at the end of the day. So how do I invest my money? you ask yourself this question. I will provide an answer for these questions for you. So the answer to this is that you have to spend less money. So if you are in the category of the middle class and you belong to that category where at the end of the day you have little or no saving to save or to invest, then what do? You have to spend less money. That means that you have to do away with some things that are taking money away from your pocket. Maybe, for example, you have to downsize your house. If you are living in maybe a three-bedroom flat, you might have to go through a room and parlor self-contained. If you are actually, you have a car, you may need to sell your car and use that money for investment. If you are actually, spending more money on food, you may need to reduce the amount of food you are eating in the house. If you are spending a lot on utilities, you may have to cut down on your utilities. Then number two, you need to earn more money. So you spend less and earn more money. Of course, you can combine the two of them together, spending less money and earning more money in this economic situation. it is very, very possible. But if you know you cannot do the two of them, then you can opt for one at the end of the day. So how do you earn more money? Earning more money entails that you have to create what we call multiple streams of income. You have to look for other avenues that can actually generate money for you at the end of the day. So by so doing, you are spending less money. Now, another thing that's actually what's making another habit that the middle class is also doing or engaging in that is making them to stay broke at all time is that they are always trying to stay comfortable. They always want to stay comfortable or staying comfortable. What do I mean by that? A lot of middle class are comfortable where they are at the moment. Of course, they are always comfortable. They are contented with their position for as long as they have, comfortable salary, they have good health insurance, they have other services or incentives that is given to them in where they are actually working. They are actually what contended with this, and because of that they are not ready to take any risk. So they are addicted to the benefit that comes with the job they are doing. And if you belong to this category of people that you are contented with the level of job or with the benefit that comes with the job you are doing, then you have to have a routine, because that will make it to be perpetually at the level of the middle class. So as a result of this, people cannot take risk. So if you actually belong to this category, it will not allow you to take risk. It will not allow you to take risk, because why? You will feel so comfortable, you feel so relaxed, you feel so carried away that, oh, of course I have benefits, I have good salary, I have good insurance, I have this, I have incentives, and rest of them. So I don't need another job, I don't need to look for other streams of income. And that is where most of us actually what belong to. Once we are comfortable in one particular thing or other, we feel that we are in our comfort zone and we cannot stay out of that comfort zone and look for more better comfort zones. So a lot of people that belongs to the middle class or this category, they are always afraid of taking risk, but they fail to understand that life itself is actually a risk. So if you are not ready to take risk, then how will you make money? Don't forget that people that actually make more money today, and they are asked that we regard them as actually being rich or very affluent or wealthy in society today, they take a lot of risk. So to be wealthy, you must be willing to take a risk. Then another factor that middle class take as habit that makes them to be very poor is that they embrace credit facilities. They embrace credit facilities. Credit facilities include something like what I call a credit card, buy now, pay later, easy buy, loans and other credit facilities. You understand now, that are provided by financial institutions that people feel so comfortable with, because this thing or these credit loans or buy now, pay later, credit card, easy buy and the rest of them, they make you to show that you're actually rich, because they make it to show they're actually rich because you have access to those loans and those facilities, and you can actually collect them and use them to buy whatever you like. Do you understand now? You can use them to buy whatever you like. So as a result of that, you feel that you are actually rich because you have access to those things that you actually wanted for yourself. But that does not show that you are actually rich, because they only show that you are actually indebted. You are actually indebted to credit card, to buy now, pay later, to easy buy, and to other loan credit facilities. Why? Because they attract a lot of interest. So if you belong to that middle class and you are a kind of person that you actually embrace credit facilities, it is not good for you. It's a very bad habit. Of course, people say, of course, I have credit facilities will give me options of buying whatever I like. Of course, you will buy whatever you like with your credit facilities. They give you 1.5 million, but you've forgotten that at the end of the day, you are going to pay interest to the company that you have collected the money from. You are going to pay a lot of interest. And I've always said or stated, right now, interest rate is about 24 point something in Nigeria. So people that actually glorify or embrace or praise these credit facilities are actually making a very wrong impression. They believe that it makes them to be rich. They believe that it's changed their status, but your status will actually change. But at the end of the day, you will pay through your nose. But in actual sense, you are not changing your status, but you are actually making other people rich and making yourself to be heavily indebted to debt. So credit card, easy buy now, pay later, and other credit loans that you actually embrace at the end of the day will make you to be indebted, and you're actually making other people to be rich. So why not stop making other people to be rich? That money, that credit facilities that you're actually collecting from 1 month to another month to another month, 365 days in a year, and you're paying outrageous amount of money into paying your debt and interest rate. Why don't you use that money to invest in the right way, so that at the end of the day your future is going to be very, very bright. Now another habit adopted by middle class that makes them to be very poor is that they rely on one source of what of income, one source of income. A lot of us are actually in this category of relying on one particular source of income. We actually depended on one income or one source of income, like you are working a primary job, and because of that you don't feel that you need to look for other means of securing other money, which is very, very, very bad. So having one source of income can make you to be very, very broke at the end of the day, because at the end of the day the money may not be able to sustain you and your family. Then apart from that, what happens when you are not doing that job again? Maybe an accident, maybe you retire, maybe you are sacked, maybe you are not in that office again. What are you going to sustain yourself with? And that is why in my last lecture I said a lot of people in Nigeria cannot stay without working for the next 3 years, that 3 months, sorry, 3 months, that in 3 months they are unable to get a job. There's going to be a wahala, and some cannot even sustain themselves for 1 week without getting a job. It is going to be catastrophic. So one of the factors that actually what makes those people that are in this middle class to be perpetually poor is that they depend on one source of income. So you need to look for other source of income by creating what we call cash flow, by creating what we call investment, by building wealth for yourself, by having what we call financial education. So if you actually in the middle class and you belong to the category of people that actually working on one source of income, today is a day that you need to change your concept and your mind set, because at the end of the day it's not going to work for you. So wealth creation, creating wealth, creating affluence is built through investment and what and assets. So you need to build your investment, you need to buy more assets, and you need to create what I call a cash flow. And by creating cash flow, you are creating what we call multiple streams of income apart from your primary source of income. So you must create multiple streams of income that can keep you going even when you are not working, even when you are retired, even when an accident happen or unforeseen circumstances occur. You can still be able to sustain yourself and your family till you get back on your feet. Or if at all you are going to retire, something should be able to fund your lifestyle for the rest of your life, and you can even transfer that generational wealth to your children, and your children can transfer it to their own children to become what I call generational wealth. But to build this, you need what we call a decade of sacrifice. Then another factor or habit that is adopted by the middle class that makes them to be very, very poor is that they like spending beyond their means, or spending money, extravagantly, or spending money on what we call ostentatious goods or luxurious goods. Now, for you to be able to survive in this level of inflation, you need to live below your means and not above your means. If you live below your means, that means that you can be able to use your money for other aspects of things that are very, very important, like savings and the investment. But if you live above your means, that is, you are trying to create an impression to people that you are actually rich, that you are actually affluent, but your wealth or your money is being funded by credit card, by easy buy, by buy now, pay later, and the rest of them, you are going to pay a lot of interest, and at the end of the day it's going to create a lot of holes in your pocket. So this period of time, you need to live below your means and not above your means, so that you can be able to finance your investment. Now, liabilities like buying cars and buying expensive clothes, wristwatches, and the rest of them will not make you rich because they are liabilities. And what are liabilities? Things that you spend money on to maintain them at the end of the day. So if you have a car and that car is not what a commercial car or a car that you are using to do business that is creating money for you, then you need to do something about that car, because that car is not going to become, it's not going to create wealth for you, but it's going to become a liability for you, because you are going to maintain that car, you are going to do servicing and the rest of them, and this will be creating holes and taking money away from your pocket. So you need to be investment friendly. You need to invest in assets. You need to invest in in things that will generate revenue and make more money for you. So living beyond your means or living extravagantly can actually make you to be very, very broke. Now, another factor that middle class makes as a mistake, or are actually habit to them, that makes them to be very, very poor or to be broke most times, is that they don't learn from their mistakes. You see, a lot of us today, we don't learn from our mistakes. Even when we make these mistakes, we don't learn from them. People want wealth very easily. They don't want to work very hard. They want this get rich scheme. They want this something like, for example, MMM. They want something like they invest 100 naira now, they can get 10 million naira now. It doesn't work that way. Wealth is not created in that form. If you have anybody that gets his wealth in this medium or two ways, it's not genuine wealth. You see, people that are actually wealthy today, they actually build their wealth in decade or sacrifice, or after so many years. That is how you build wealth. So wealth is like a plant that you nurture, and you allow it to grow and nurture it till it goes through what we call a maturity. So a lot of people don't learn from their mistakes, even when they have actually made the mistake of this or falling victims of this get rich scheme. And they hear another stories about get rich scheme, they'll still put their money into it, and they'll still put their money into it. So you need to learn from your mistakes, that when you make a mistake, it's supposed to be a lesson for you that you need to learn from. And it means that you should not go to that area again where you made that same mistake, because once beaten, twice shy. So it will be very wrong that after you made the first mistake, you keep repeating your same mistake. And that's why they will say that a wise man will die but once, but a foolish man will die 1,000 times. So don't be foolish, don't be extravagant, don't make mistakes that you cannot correct yourself. Correct your mistakes and move on with life, and take lessons from your mistakes and grow from your mistakes. That is not to say that in life we don't make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but what makes us great and thick and strong is that when we make these mistakes, we learn from our mistakes. Then another one is that what makes the middle class that they have as an habit that makes them to be very poor is that they focus on what I call emotion. When you focus too much on the emotion, and what do I mean by that? You blame everybody for your poverty, for your impoverishment, for your penury. You blame the gods in your village people, the government, the economy, this and that. If you actually belong to the middle class and you are in that category, then you need to have a rethink. You blame other people for your mistake, for your downfall, and even blame yourself for your downfall. But this will not help you. But rather, you need to move up and change your mindset and believe that you can actually build wealth for yourself. So stop blaming people around you for your shortcomings. Stop blaming those people in your village for your shortcomings. But rather, look for avenues to create your mistakes and to correct your mistakes and move ahead and forge ahead with your life and build a positive mindset towards building or creating wealth for yourself. The other way where we focus more on emotion is that a lot of us that are even engaged in this investment are also guilty of this. If you see, in the period of economic recession and things are going downwards, you see that a lot of people they're always emotional in investment. They have what we call emotional investment decision making problem. And what do I mean by that? That is, whenever the stocks are going down and during this period, a lot of them they usually panic and they're always afraid, and because of that, they only sell what they have. They sell their stock at a very cheaper rate, even at the rate of 25 to 50% lesser. At the end of the day, they are not making money, they are making a loss. Now, whenever there is a depression, economic depression or inflation like this, it does not mean that things are going to collapse, the economic system of the world is going to collapse, things are going to be destroyed and all that. No, there's going to be a progression back. Things are going to bounce back to normal. And that is the secret of the man called Warren Buffett. Whenever there is an inflation, economic depression, this is when he's going to buy stocks at a very, very cheaper rate. And after some years, you discover that other things are going to bounce back, and what happens is going to make a lot of profits. So if you're a middle class and you focus on emotion, that is that time you have to change. So stop blaming the government, the society, your family members, your brothers or sisters for a failure, but rather build up your mindset to build up your wealth creation. Then don't forget that in the period of economic downfall, that things are always complicated and always very very difficult. But this is not the time for you to sell your stock, but you stick with your stock, because at the end of the day, everything is going to bounce back to normal. And for those that are going to buy at this period of time, at the end of the day, they will make more money for themselves and for their generations to come. So be wise at this particular period. So these are the points that I'm going to enumerate for today on those things that actually made the middle class to be perpetually poor in their finances. And I've mentioned so many factors that I've enumerated in this discussion and this analysis. I believe you have actually gained something today. If you actually gained something, then subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to leave your comment on how to serve you better, and don't also forget to share my video to the outside world. To the returning subscriber, to our returning subscribers, I say a very big thank you. And if you have not subscribed, subscribe now. God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. God bless the world, and God bless every family.